a hotbed of diplomacy. Bali is hosting the G20 Leaders Summit, and today was the official dinner reception. Take a look at those pictures. During the dinner, all the cameras panned to one very important conversation in the middle of this room, the one between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and China's President Xi Jinping. Now, both leaders were seen exchanging handshakes and pleasantries. From the looks of it, it was a brief conversation between them. Why is this important? Why is this photo op important? Because India and China, as you know, have been locked in a border standoff in Ladakh since April 2020, which means almost 30 months. Since then, bilateral relations between the two sides have spiraled south. Earlier this year, both Modi and Xi Jinping came face to face at the SCO summit in Uzbekistan, but back then there were no handshakes or exchange of pleasantries. Even today in Bali, this was an informal exchange. As things stand, there are no indications of any bilateral meetings or any pull-asides. We have Suresh Kumar Goyal, who is a former ambassador, joining us on the broadcast for a very quick chat. Ambassador Goyal, thank you very much for your time. The Army Chief of India has described the situation at the LAC as stable but unpredictable. How would you describe these pictures? I know there is no pull-aside, there are no bilaterals, but how would you describe this picture, and what does this picture tell you?
Nothing. The fact is that at a big meeting of this kind, with 17 heads of state at the same venue, when they're actually going from one room to the other room, there is a very small possibility, even though the protocol and the security do take care that the paths of the two leaders do not cross each other unless there is an intention to do so. In this case, if I look at the visuals, it's a very contrived kind of a thing. Xi Jinping looks very uncomfortable. He's turning his head left and right and everything, like he doesn't want to engage in a conversation. However, for some reason, the paths have crossed, and Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Narendra, seems to be giving Xi Jinping a bit of his mind, a piece of his mind, and telling him where he might have done right, blah, 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 and all those things. And he's looking very uncomfortable. I will not attach any great importance to it, except a minor incident which should not have happened, because knowing the fact that India and China are not on the same wicket at the moment, the security and the protocol officials should have ensured that they do not cross each other's path. It has happened. It's a minor infraction. But knowing China's stand and India's stand, where there is no clear convergence between the two, it's just an accident. I will not pay any attention to it at all, really.
All right. All right. We leave it there, and thank you very much for putting that in perspective. You say this is just an accident. It should not have happened. Given that the relations between the two countries are at an all-time low, the standoff Eastern Ladakh has now lasted for more than 30 months, almost 30 months, and China is showing absolutely no signs of going back to where they came from, or what India is calling status quo ante. So things stand as they were. The relationship between the two countries remain frosty. There are no pull-asides. There are no bilaterals, as it were, in Bali. But what do we do with this picture? Ambassador Goyal telling us don't read too much into it. So that's where we leave it. Thank you very much, Ambassador Goyal,